Don't rush in on it. But if the daily candle forms
Mm-hmm.
under this, I would short it
Wait, under what?
under this red line right here. I would short it to your negative 27. Look how this fib right here, from this highest high, lowest low, can retrace perfectly to your 618. Chances are more than likely, like very likely, it's probably going to come and test your negative 27. One way that you could confirm that though is if the candle on the daily forms under
Mm-hmm.
the 0%.
Oh, okay.
What's up,
What's
Lucas?
up? What's going on?
Nothing. Look, bruh, I've been waiting for you. I don't have shots this time. I ain't taking no shots, but I'm down with the wine. Oh no, you're about to pull it out, huh? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Lucas ain't playing tonight. Yikes. Hold on, let me take another swig real quick.
Hi, Nelly. Yo, I'm fucking
I
stressed.
never play, bro.
Nelly, come smoke a blunt with me.
Y'all should be inviting me to smoke a blunt too.
Yeah, you could definitely come.
Coast.
Lucas and I probably gonna be getting drunk tonight.
Fly over here, bro.
I know, huh? Why y'all gotta be so far? Why can't y'all come over here to Cali?
Majority
I-
vote
I'm
wins.
out.
California.
Okay. So yeah, did that kind of answer your question with NU?
Yeah, that helped me a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Cool, cool. Another thing you could do is you could draw a little. I don't know why these lines looking this ugly. Little trend line right there. Either way, the form's under.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at about 80 pips or so. And then what you would do next is if this hoe decides to keep on going down, right? If the next candle on the daily forms under your
Mm-hmm.
negative 27, then you want to ride that even further to your 618. And right around right here, chances are, if I'm not mistaken, this more than likely is going to be a pretty good price reversal zone. Let's back test it. Without even knowing anything about like this zone, look how many times it reverse price. Reverse, reverse, right? So if it does come and test down here, expect there to be some sort of reversal towards your 618.
Okay.
Okay. So what's up, guys? For everybody that's jumping on, she just asked a quick question, but I'm actually here to help you guys a little bit more as to what to do whenever you guys see something. Whenever you guys see something on the goat chat, or if you see any of our markups, I apologize, Arthur. I've been crazy busy the past week or so. I got a lot of crap I'm dealing with, but I will be sending more markups soon. Very, very soon. But I know, was any of you guys on my Zoom from Saturday night? I think, let me see. I'll probably remember who. Oh, Darius was, for sure. Marisol was. Yeah, y'all should have been catching some map pips from what I called out. But I kind of want to show you guys what to do whenever you get some sort of markup, right? So let's start off and dive right in. Can you guys see my screen, by the way? Can I get like a little thumbs up or something?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see it.
Cool, cool. So look, like right here, whoever this is, I don't know his name, but this guy is a really, if you guys are in the Pivot Free, it's a really good chat. I've taken the signals before and they're good. So let's see, right? So he's looking at Euro AUD, right, on the daily, and he's looking at a harmonic in specific, right? So one thing that he's calling out is he's telling you to sell, right? So right up here where it says stop, you want to match it up to the line that's placed right there. Right, so he's got a box at the very top. This is the stop loss at this price. So if you were to just plug in his trade, like without looking at it, this would be a stop loss, right? And his entry is right here where this green or this little black line is, right? And all of this green is what he's trying to shoot for a take profit, right? And he's giving you three different take profits. This green line at this price, take profit one. He's giving you this take profit two at this other green line, and then take profit three at the third green line, right? So let's analyze this real quick and try to understand what he's talking about. And I'll show you guys where you want to enter, right? Because a lot of times we're not going to call out entries. So I'll show you what I usually do, right? So first and foremost, if we look at this, we see that price right here on the RSI is overbought, right? Which means that price for the most part is going to go down, right? We don't know how far, we don't know how long, but all you know that price now is overbought, so chances are there's going to be some sort of downward momentum, right? We look at the MACD, we notice a crossover, right? So for those that don't know how the MACD works, let me show you real quick. A MACD, what this measures is a shift in momentum. You guys always hear me talking about these. So a shift in momentum is something like this, right? You see this red shoot down? A shift in momentum is this here, right? Price is coming on an uptrend, and all of a sudden, right? This is a double top, by the way. But usually, right, what happens afterwards is a pretty big shoot down, right? So this is a shift in momentum. What this is doing is shifting the momentum of price, shifting the momentum from an upward direction to now a downward direction, right? But what we know and why a shift in momentum is really important is because now we know that when there's a huge shift in one sort of direction, we know that there's going to be a shift either maybe half of that size or just as big, if not bigger, than that specific shift, right? So look, price shifted on the down, or price shifted down like heavy, shot down on the downtrend, right? For like what, since May-ish, a little bit before, up until June, right? Euro odd dropped down, right? The euro went down like crazy, right? So then what happened? Right around here, we see the shift in momentum. So what would happen on the MACD is when we see this right here, this is the shift in momentum we're looking at, right? Price going on the downside. Now this orange bar in the middle is your signal bar. This is letting you know when, on the MACD in particular, when there's going to be a shift in momentum in the opposite direction, right? So right around here, right, we see some sort of crossover. So what's happening is this orange bar, or signal bar, is signaling us that price is about to shift in the opposite direction, right? We're going to see a shift in momentum in the opposite direction, right? So if we look at this, right, the way that you know there's a crossover is when you see the signal bar. When you see momentum above the signal bar on the, like below the zero right here, then we know that momentum's about to shift on the upside, and vice versa. If we see momentum on the upside, right, but we see the signal bar above the little bars right here, right, where momentum and price is at, then we know price is going to shift in the opposite direction. So watch, right, when this shift shot down, we notice that there was a shift. It's really, really small. You can barely see it. But right around right here, there's a crossover on the MACD, which is signaling us, hey, pretty soon you guys want to look at a sell because there's about to be a pretty big shift on the downside. And then what happened? Shot down, right? Now, right around this zone right here, we notice that the bars start to form above a signal bar, which is letting us know, hey, pretty soon there's about to be a shift in the opposite direction, right? And what happened? When this crossover happened, when this bar was officially, when the signal bar was under the momentum bars, right? Price decided to go up, right? Which was all of this right here. So this is a classified shift in momentum. Price shot down, followed by shoot up, right? So this is what we're looking at right now. The same shift in momentum, right? We see a huge shoot up, right? And we see a crossover happening right about right here, which is letting us know that pretty soon there's about to be a shift in momentum on the downside, right? The MACD is only an indicator to let you find out, and it's only there to indicate when you're going to get a good shift in momentum. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that. But kind of going back to how we would read this, right? He's telling us that obviously this would be a sell, right? Because price, where he's calling his entry and the take profits are under, that means sell, right? So he's giving you your stop loss right about right here. He's giving you your take profits, right? So what I usually do to analyze this, let me stop sharing. I don't really read other people's, I don't copy everything exactly. I usually kind of just do it in my own pace, right? I do it my own way. So usually what I would do is I would try to find and see. I don't want to look at anybody else's analysis when I'm doing this. I want to see what I'm looking at first, right? So before I start and take anyone's trades, I'm going to try to see what I'm looking at, right? So first I'm going to draw a trend line. It does look like price is going on an upward trend. Right off of the bat, it kind of looks like there's some sort of candle forming, right? This is on the weekly though. Let me draw a couple support and resistance. You don't have to do all of this, but I just kind of want to see before I were to take anything if this is something that I would think is something that I would benefit from. So I'll just draw like maybe 2. Then I'll probably zoom in on the daily because that's the time frame that he was looking at, right? And let's see. The only thing that I would do, honestly, if you were to take this, if you didn't want to really analyze too deeply, right? And if you wanted to play it safe, you guys understand about how support and resistance works, right? The price breaks the price floor, and now that's resistance, right? So what I usually do, to be honest, to play it safe, and I've done it before on the Goat chat before, like when we first created the chat, and when people were sending markups like crazy, honestly, I got kind of lazy like the first couple of days. I was like, oh wow, like there's so many charts that I don't even have to mark up because they did it for me, right? So I usually zoom in on a smaller time frame. And what I'll do is I'll just mark up support and resistance zones, right? So this one right here is a pretty good level of support, right? Price came and respected it for the most part once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, right? And if it were to break this, this would probably be another level of support and resistance. White would be my entry, and then blues are my take profits. Here's a good level of resistance, which is also could be another take profit, right? And then lastly, we could use this level right here. I'll draw another line just so you guys don't see. These are the weekly support and resistance zones. So what I would want to see in specific with this pair, if I were to take this, is I would want to see it break through this level of support, right? Which would activate my entry. I would probably place a stop. It might come back and retest. We'd have to see if it was that big of a move. It might even break through because of that shift that we're looking at. But I usually like to see a retest, and I would want to see it come back and shoot all the way down, right? You might get some sort of pullback in between. But my point being is usually when it comes to the GOAT chat and what I'm looking at, I try to see the overall direction. And if it's a pair that I'm specifically not really familiar with, maybe not familiar because I could trade like any pair that you put in front of me. But if it's a pair that I don't really trade as often, I would say, what I usually do is just go back to basic support and resistance, right? So we know that if it breaks this level of support, it's going to be treated as resistance, right? So if we're looking at this, TP1 is a good 70 pips. TP2 on my side would be 145, and TP3 would be about 225 pips, right? So it's still not that bad of a trade, right? If price were to pan out perfectly, which by the way, I think I do have a sell stop place for this. I was looking at this a while ago. I think I've had this since yesterday. But that's one thing that I usually do just to play it safe. I usually like to just play support and resistance, right? And instead of having to deal with all of this consolidation right here, there's a lot of noise right here in the market. And noise, what this is just consolidation, right? And so honestly, if you guys are familiar with price patterns, I mean market patterns too, one good market pattern that we should get familiar with is the rectangle, right? A rectangle is just being able to trade in a consolidating zone, or not trading in a consolidating zone. I freaking hate when this happens. You guys are gonna hear me complain about this every single time. This is a good market pattern to be able to find out when price is gonna go in a specific direction, right? So watch, I'll show you some examples. A rectangle, literally, you could just, what you do is just draw a rectangle over it, right? Support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. And if you remember how patterns work, right? This is 150 pips. The minute it breaks one or the other, you hold it, right? This one didn't really give you a 150, it gave you about 130, which isn't that bad. And I'll use a trailing stop loss and it works, you know? There's another rectangle that I'm looking at right here. It just saves you the trouble of having to deal with consolidation, right? Support, resistance. Comes, breaks it, and then it forms the other one. This alone was an 90 pip worth of support and resistance right there. If you took this from when it broke it, right, there's 117 pips. So it panned out, right? Now, usually these aren't reversal patterns, but this is what I use in order to avoid having to deal with any noise, any consolidation, right? Because that's the last thing I want to deal with. Like right here, the last thing I want to deal with is having to have a cell activated in this zone and then come up and come down. Sometimes I'll even just play it safe and I'm like, you know what, I'll just take my entry all the way down here, right? Because if it breaks below all of this right here, then I know for sure it's going to go in a downward movement. You know, if not, it wouldn't have broken this level of support. But usually, I mean, if you just want to get a pretty decent entry and catch a little bit more pips, play it with support and resistance, right? I'll give you a couple more examples of a couple other markups that they may have sent. Does anyone have any questions so far in the chat? You guys can type in anything. If not, just type a 111 if you guys are understanding so far. Everything good? You guys see how I would usually take that? And Darius, bro, I'm reading your comment. Bro, you could always ask me if you're looking at a chart that I'm putting up. You could always just hit me up, and if you're like, hey, like I want to see where you would get in, then you could ask me. I'm not gonna say I won't tell you, you know. I just don't call out specific countries. Gabriel, you'll see. I'm gonna go over another one right now. I'm just going over how to take signals from the goat chat. Okay, let's see. Real odd. We were just looking at that. I think Stanley. Oh yeah, Stanley did call out AUD USD a buy, I believe. Okay. He never put up a chart. Okay, well either way, right? So Stanley earlier on today he called out a buy for AUD USD, right? So let me show you what he was looking at, right? He didn't put up a chart, which is fine. But what he was looking at was this here, right? Which, by the way, isn't really. We'll have to see how that's going to be. So essentially, what he was looking at was this here. What do we know about a double bottom? Double bottom, for it to be a classified double bottom, right? It's coming from a downtrend, which AUD has been coming from a downtrend for a while, right? And it forms this W kind of formation, right? So what we want to look for when we see this, I think he had called it maybe about up here, right? So one thing that we would want to wait for is we would have wanted to wait until it breaks this level of resistance, right? Because the minute that it breaks it and we see candle closure above our resistance now, that becomes support, right? So chances are what it'll usually do if it's a double bottom is it'll usually come back, not always, but usually it'll come back, retest that level of resistance as support now, and it'll come back and shoot up in an upward momentum, right? So this is what he was looking at earlier, right? We see a low, we see resistance, we see another low, right? So what we would have wanted to see with this specific pair is we would have wanted to see this break above. I'm not saying it's not going to do it. It might very well do it. Look, this kind of looks like a teacup right here. So it may come back and test this resistance. I think it probably will, but we'll have to just wait it out and see, right? And if it does break above, what we would want to do is we'd want to see this come back, test this level, and we'd probably want to hold this to one of the next couple zones that I'm going to give you, right? So white for me is my entry. Now I'm going to wait for it to break above and see the candle close above, not the minute that I see the candle like this, like just break it, because if you get a wick like this, it's going to shoot down, kind of like what would happen here, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to see this test one of the few couple zones that I'm going to call out right here. These are important, guys, for you to know how to do, because a lot of times people aren't going to tell you where to enter in or how far to put your take profit or all of that, right? So for me, take profit one would probably be, and I based this off of previous market structure, right? Stop loss, I'll put in red. So previous market structure, this is a level of support, right? Support, which in this case would serve as resistance if it's coming on the upside, right? So I'd want to see this come back and test this zone. If it breaks it, awesome. I'm going to use this zone up here as TP2, right? Resistance up here, I'd want to see price come and test up here. And if it breaks above this, sweet. I would love to see it come and test this zone up here, right? Look, resistance, resistance over there, right? I'm not saying AUD will do that. I personally don't think AUD is going to go, I guess, bullish for that long. I see it going bearish more, but that's just my personal like opinion on it. But it just depends on what you're looking at specifically, right? Because you guys might see something that I'm not looking at. And I would definitely say trust your guys' analysis more than anything. But when you see a double bottom, if they're calling out a specific price or a market pattern, this is what you want to really look at right here, right? My boy EJ making me runny right now. My analysis from yesterday was bearish on A. Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, EJ, I haven't really been looking at it this week. I'll show you a couple of the pairs that I'm looking at, guys, especially the ones that I was calling out on this weekend, actually. And I'll update you. But do you guys understand, like, if somebody were to put, hey, like, I'm looking at a double bottom, do you guys see what to do now, though? Like, what to look for? Is this kind of making a little bit more sense now? And helping out? Cool, cool. Let me know if you guys have any questions along the way. Let me know if you guys want me to cover anything specific too, right? There's a lot of people that said they were going to be on that aren't. Alyssa, you're on. I know you wanted me to go over something. Do you want to remind me, actually? I forgot what you wanted me to cover so I could go ahead and go. Oh, I think you were the one that asked me about how to go over the GOAT chat charts. Let me give you one more too, just so you could see, so I can make it a little bit more clear. Let's say, oh, I love Tony, by the way, guys. If you see his markups, I would highly recommend looking at them. Oh, let me look at the chat. Oh, no, I got you. I got you. Sweet. Let's see. Let's go with. Let's go with UCAD, right? So in this case, what I'm looking at right here, Tony, what I'm looking at personally is it looks like for me, price is going more on a downtrend on what he's calling out, right? And the only reason that I'm saying that in this specific picture or this chart is because if you notice price is this trend line right here, he's looking at the daily, right? And we notice that there's a trend line going on an uptrend, right? We see price break below and come back and give you that retest, right? And on top of that, you see price come back and test this counter trend line, right? This is not really going along, or no, this is, yeah. We see this trend line right here, and we see price right in the middle of this, and like in between both of these trend lines, right? So it looks like for the most part, off of what I'm looking at, UCAD looks like it's going bearish off of this picture, right? Which may be the situation. You have to look at it real quick. So what I would look at in specific is in this picture, I'd want to look at where, or if you guys want to know where the take profit would be, like I said, support and resistance. Chances are is calling out right here where this price reversal zone is at. And if you look, price reversed here, price reversed here, price reversed here, 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 and so on and so forth, right? So what I would look at next is I would pull up UCAD. Let's see, USD, CAD. Let's see. Like I said, I usually just like to mark it up on my own first. I like to look at their analysis so I can get a better idea as to what they're looking at, right? Okay. To me, it looks like it's forming more of a triangle in a sense. This is on the weekly though. We zoom in more on the daily just to get a little bit more of a feel. We actually do see that same channel. I at least see it. Put this in red for the daily. And we actually see that price broke above this channel, right? And the next candle formed above it, which is a good indication, right? So next what I would do, so to me, you'd have to see, but if I see price break above a channel, to me, it doesn't look like it's going to go in a downward momentum. It kind of looks like it's going to go more on the upside, right? We see though there is a triangle that's in place on the weeklies, so it might be a fake out breakout. We'd have to wait and see. But chances are what I would want to look at, which by the way, I wouldn't have taken this if this is what I was looking at. Support and resistance. Support and resistance saves lives, literally. Let's see. So if I were to take this trade, right, because it's kind of hard for me to say, I don't really trade UCAT as much, but if I were to want to trade this, yeah, I would want to see more of a bearish movement because it does look like it's been breaking down of a downtrend. But one thing I'll let you know too is that when price, what do we know about a downtrend, right? A downtrend is classified as lower lows with lower highs, right? Lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? Now, if this was a downtrend, why the hell would this high right here not be a lower high than this one here? Chances are that isn't really much of a downtrend for me. It kind of looks like price is going to go in the opposite direction, right? It broke past this level of resistance right here. The candle formed above it. So what I would want to do is I would want to come and see it test the next level, right? Probably around this zone up here, right? So what I would want to see with UCAT in specific would be this. I'd want to come and see it test this zone up here. Bullish flag. It might very be, yeah, I see it, you know? It's another pattern that we look at, right? Bullish flag. And that's exactly what I would have done to not take this trade. I'm not saying that Tony is inaccurate. His trades are really, really accurate. I've made money off of the signals. I've tested them out. They're really good. But they're, like I said, they're trading ideas. That's why we don't call them signals. We don't tell you guys, hey, just copy and paste what we're taking. You want to analyze to see what we're looking at too, because a lot of times, like this in specific, this could have been a quick misunderstanding. It did look accurate off of what that picture was saying, but that's why we need to wait it out sometimes, because look what happened. This is on the daily too, right? Now I could say that we're probably going to expect some sort of pullback soon. I mean, we see a shoot up, right? We might see a shift in momentum. Price very well might go down, but we'll have to see. For me, it looks like it's going bullish in a certain sense. If you notice when this was shooting on the upside, right, look how much or little to no pullback we had, right? So what I would usually do is I'd want to measure how much pullback we had, 60 pips, right? So I'd want to see at least 60 pips of a pullback. To go along on this, you want to see a break and close above both the daily flag and the weekly triangle. What I would want to do in specific is I'd want to wait for a pullback, right? Because if there's going to be a pretty big shoot up like this, chances are you're probably going to get somewhat of a pullback. This little pullback right here when it made this jump up on the upside was about 60 pips. I'd want to see, let's say here down, this was about 40, maybe like another 20 pips of pullback, you know? Or what I would want to see it do for sure is I'd want to see it break above this market structure here. So what I would do is I'd honestly place a stop. I like placing buy stops and sell stops and limits. And I would personally just be okay with taking this much of a profit, right? I'm not here to catch all the down pips I need to. I would be perfect. I'm not going to cry about, how much is this? 30 pips? I'd rather play it safe. I'm not going to cry about 30 pips. I'd rather just take my 70 and I'm okay. You know, it's not that big of a deal. I could catch 30 pips on another trade, you know? So just as long as, oh wow. Dang. Yeah, I would like to see, it break this previous market structure right here. I see it come up, break this level of resistance right here that was formed right here. Then I would be like, okay, then it seems pretty safe to me to want to go and see it test this zone up here, you know? I usually just play support and resistance if it's a pair that I'm not really familiar with. Price reversals, there's really not much else I really need to look at. At least in my opinion, I usually would just play it safer like that. Let's see. So we have 13 other people on this call. Well, 12 because it's me and Dakota. But do you guys have any questions on anything that I've covered? Do you guys want me to go over anything? I think, Nelly, you wanted me to go over fibs, right? Yes, no, laying out fibs. Okay.
Nelly's not on here.
Oh. And she's the one that wanted me to go over fibs. Okay. All right, cool. Let's see. Let's choose a random pair. I'll show you guys what I was looking at earlier and why I was looking at that, right? So let's look at AUD and ZD, right? Like I said, if you guys were on my call the other day, this is what I was looking at. I was looking at this channel that was forming. This has been forming since April, right? And when I told you guys about this shoot up right here didn't happen. We're right here at the very bottom of this trend line. And I told you guys, hey, if you're on my call at least, you'd probably want to look at this because it looks pretty bullish. I'm thinking it's going to test up, right? If you guys would have taken this, y'all would have banked about 165 pips. I ain't playing. But one thing that I did was just, I mean, one, I looked at, of course, the channel, right? Another thing that I did to analyze this was I did run a fib. I ran a fib from this low to this high up here, right? Let me turn this white. I can't deal with all those damn colors. How do I turn this white? I guess not. Okay, whatever. So what I was looking at when I see this, right, when I run a fib, by the way that you run a fib is you follow the trend, right? So this is coming on an uptrend. So I'm going to draw my fib from the lowest low to the highest high. I'm going to follow the trend, right? Low to high, right? So I do it from the move that I'm looking at, right? So I'm looking at this low to this high. I missed out on this uptrend, right? I missed out on this shoot up, right? So what I want to do is I want to measure how much of a retracement I'm going to get up until I can go ahead and jump in to continue that trend that I missed, right? So I'm going to go ahead and place it from this lowest low, place it to the highest high that formed because I missed out on that whole shoot up, right? I didn't catch that. So I'm going to see how much of a pullback I'm going to try to get if I want to jump in and continue that uptrend, right? If it is to continue that. And if you guys know me, I look kind of like how I've taught you guys before. What a Fibonacci is it's a sequence, right? It's what nature respects. So we've gone over this before. I'm not really going to go into it again. But my point being with this is how to explain it? Do you know those people that go ahead and like, you know how everything in the world is like a pattern, right? And I guess in order to beat somebody in a game of chess, there's a pattern. I didn't know that. I just thought it was just strategy. No, it's a pattern to do that. Or to solve a Rubik's Cube, it's just a pattern, right? To understand and to know when price is going to go in a specific direction, there's a pattern to that too, right? So that's kind of that's what a Fibonacci does for you. It's kind of like a little cheat code to let you know when price is going to go ahead and form that pattern so it can work out in your favor, right? So if you know me and the way that I trade, I usually look at my 50 to 618 retracement zone, right? So the first thing that I do when I run a fib is I draw a rectangle right in between that zone that I'm looking at. And then I'll place a horizontal line at my negative 27, okay? And I'll erase my fib. And so what I do, let me just extend this out so we could back test it. This is what I do next. I'll go and I'll back test how big of a price reversal zone that we're looking at, right? Because what if 50 to 618 retracement is the majority of time is a price reversal zone. It's a zone where price comes and reverses instantly. And that's what I want to look at when I'm looking at this. And if I don't see price reverse as much in this zone, then I don't really think it's that good of a zone for me to look at in the specific trend, right? So let's see. Let's see how accurate of a price reversal zone this was. Price reversed here, right? Price reversed here, price reversed here, price reversed here, price reversed here, here, did here, did here. Okay, it's a pretty accurate zone, okay? Just off of looking at this zone, it looks pretty damn accurate to me. So if I go back and zoom in, right, when I was looking at this, you guys, there's no way that I could tell you guys. It's not like any way in how I could tell you. Doesn't matter if you're sending the charts to me or Dakota or Stanley or Lucas um, Arthur, it doesn't matter who. Nobody knows where price is going, okay? Nobody knows. That's $1 million question. If I knew where the markets are going 24/7, trust me, I wouldn't even be here right now. I honestly would probably be a billionaire and I'd be rich as fuck, right? Not gonna lie. Now, one thing that Dakota says a lot that I actually like, it kind of stuck in my head when I started trading, especially when I was a really, really stubborn trader at first. If I wanted to see something, I would hold my trade and I would like want to see that happen. Like I didn't believe that there was a chance that my trades and my perspective would go wrong. And one thing that Dakota says that you guys should really live by is you guys don't predict, you react, right? So I love that, right? That's right. That's how you should be when you're trading. You don't predict where the markets are going, you react to what you see, right? So right here, when I saw that price was at this zone, I could have very well been wrong, right? And I know that if it broke my channel, I was going to do the opposite type of trade. I wasn't going to hold it and I wasn't going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to hold this because I think it's going to, I'm not that type of person. I'm reacting off of what I see. And if I saw that this is going up, I'm going to hold it, right? That's what I'm going to look at, right? So right around the zone, I look at a buy, price came, and what did it do? It respected my 618 right here at the very bottom. My 618 is this line right here. We notice how strong of a support was it? Once, two, three times, right? Resistance over here, resistance, right? And held my buy. Held it all the way until we're actually where we're at now, right? Hold on, let me look at the chart. Moving average, do fibs have to be updated? It doesn't matter. Honestly, a lot of the zones that you're looking at are pretty accurate zones. You know, you could leave a fib on here. And this is what I love about a fib. Look, I measured this distance, right? But if you were to go and measure this distance also, another reason why, hold on, I have another question in the chat. You wouldn't start at the point where the bottom trend line starts? Yeah, that's where I started. Or at the very bottom, you could do that too. It just depends on what you're looking at, you know, what move you're trying to continue to catch. I just wanted to catch that specific move that I was looking at, right? So I want to see that specific pullback. How would you set fibs on a sell? I'll show you right now. Okay, so if I were to look at a fib from this low to this high, right, you could even keep these fibs here and use them, right? So right about your negative 27, which is about right here. Let's look at this on the daily. Okay, so if we were to look at this zone where I drew my horizontal line, right? Price did come and it formed above my negative 27, right? The next candle did. But the minute you see this shoot down and you see this candle form under your negative 27 right here, this is not going to come and reach your 618. I hate to break it to you, but it won't. Okay. This is going to come back and at least test your 0%. Did it come back? Yep. Then what did it do? Came back and it hit this 23.6 zone, which if you notice, if we look at the other fib that I placed, the 23.6, but it's also 618, right? So this is a double confirmation that price for me in my specific eyes, I'm looking at for me to continue this trend, right? This is a pretty good zone. That's a pretty solid zone. This 23.6 right here. I don't really trade this small of a zone, but it is a level of support, right? It was supported here, resistance here, resistance here. It's the same zone. It's just a different, I guess, zone. I don't trade that zone though. You could have ran it from this zone here and you got in between your 38 to 50%, right? From here to here. That's another zone. It just depends on how you look at a fib. Now, for me personally, like I said, I usually am more familiar with my 50 to 618. Just depends on what you're looking at. I'm not trying to confuse you guys with all of these different numbers. What you'll notice though is specifically in like a certain type of specifically when you guys start to trade, when you start to see a trend, right? What you'll notice is like example here, if we would have missed this move and we wanted to see where price would shoot next, right? Look how price came back and tested this zone at your 618, right? And what happened right after? Price came and it tapped your negative 27, right? See how price came and tapped your 618? So what I usually do is when I'm looking at a certain trend, what I do is I look at the past trend that formed, right? And I looked at where the retracement happened. So if I notice that price came and retraced at my 618, if this is a classified channel, chances are, do you guys remember what price relations are? Chances are it's gonna do the same exact thing, the same type of retracement. That's all it is, right? If you look at this type of retracement right here, we're gonna use a price relation. What a surprise that it did the same exact thing, right? Same exact ratio. This shoot up looks a lot like this here, right? Same type of ratios. That's why I look at the previous trend or the previous movement that happened, look at the previous retracement, and I make it relevant to what's happening now, right? So if it came back and it tested my negative 27% in this move, what do you think is going to happen next time around? It's going to do the same exact thing, at least in my eyes, right? I'm not a psychic. I don't know if it's going to happen for sure. But what I want to see it do is I want to see it come and test this zone, right? Give me that third touch on my channel and we're solid, okay? Whoa, that's cool. I don't know what's cool, but thanks. I'm hoping it was me. So yeah, that's kind of what I use when I look at a fib. I pretty much look at the previous movement, see where the retracement happened, and boom. And if you notice too, Brian, to answer your question, look at this low to this high. Do you notice how your negative 27% was this zone right here, which is aka support, right? Get some sort of reversal usually if it doesn't form below. It didn't, right? So a lot of times you could keep the same fibs and you could just use those specific support and resistance lines. That's pretty much all it is, essentially. Let me answer your question on the sell for whoever asked that. Let's see, what's it? Where this point bearish? A good sell though. I think EuroCAD has been going bearish for a while. Okay. And as you guys get more familiar with trading too and using fibs, a lot of times I don't really need to look at them. My eyes are kind of like a fib. So let's say you would have missed, right, this shoot down, and you want to know, hey, I want to know where you're going to retrace to for me to go ahead and enter in on the sell. If it is to be a good sell, I want to see this zone, right? Now, you don't just look at the zone and, okay, I'm going to jump in. No, no, no. You want to back test, like I said. So what I do, like I said, is I'll go back, extend out my rectangle, and I want to see how accurate of a price reversal this is. Price reversed here, price reversed here, price reversed here, here. Oh, definitely here. So it looks like a pretty good zone to me, right? Let's see how the previous moves were. We're to measure this shoot. Price actually came and gave us a 78 to 618. So we might even see it come back and test up above this zone, right? We might, okay? But if it is, what I would do in this case is I would place a sell stop. Zoom in on the 4-hour. So same thing, support and resistance kind of deal. What I would do if this is to go in a downtrend, if this is going to continue to shoot down, I'd place it a little bit below market structure, which would be right about here, right? And you could use the same fibs as the same ratios as hold on, I need to figure out how to put this. Why all these damn colors are annoying me. Oh yeah, I found it. I'll do my entry as like green or something. So I want to see price. Here, I'll do red for a sell. what I would want to see price do is break this level of support on the 4-hour that I zoomed in on. And I could use the same fib levels as my take profits, right? So my 38, TP1, 23, TP2, and your 0 would be pretty good. You could use negative 27, but trust me, these are pretty good pips that you're catching here. All right, or you could even use a 27 if you really wanted to. Right, usually what I do to kind of figure out how big of a pullback we're looking at or a retracement, just use a price relation. If you look, see, it kind of looks like there's still some movement into my 78, right? But if it does retrace to this zone, that's why I wouldn't want to jump in on this blindly. Then I know that I would want to safer trade, right? If it does come up and break my 618, that's fine. I'll just move my rectangle, it's up here, right? But it is at a good 618 zone right here, right? Chances are it might come back and give you this little shoot up here. We'll see. But I know that if it were to break this red line right here, this level of support, then you're looking at more of a possible bearish trend, right? Let's see. You have 80 pips here, you have 175 here, you have 376 here, and you have 50 or 586 here, right? And if you look, how many levels of support and resistance is it? Resistance, right? Support, resistance, support, 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 right? Support, support, resistance, right? You can definitely see that all these zones right here on the fib ratio are pretty solid zones, right? The only thing is now we just need to figure out where our entries are at. So that's kind of my 1 cent on how you do it on the sell. To answer a question about the MAs, let's see. That's why we use lovely indicators to kind of give us more of an idea as to when we're going to go ahead and take these trades, right? So I'm going to add my moving average, if I could type correctly. An exponential and an average. I don't remember which one's which. I don't even care. I usually use mine green and blue. And I use 7 and 21, right? So this is what you could kind of use to give you more of an idea as to when you're going to get a breakout, right? So let me kind of explain it for all the people that don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to delete all my lines, by the way. Okay. So first things first, my green line is my 7, right, setting. So what this is my, and what a moving average is just your mean, right? This is your price average. So this is my mean or my price average for the past 7 days, and the blue one is for my past 21 days, right? So long story short, when price is below the green line, right, which is below the blue line, we have a downtrend, right? When you see price above the green line, which is above the blue line, you have an uptrend, right? Simple. Okay. Now, one thing that I look at, understand, but no. One thing that I look at when I start looking at the MAs are these crossovers right here. This is where you usually get a pretty good breakout. Okay. When the green crosses the blue, this is a good indication that price is going to switch in the opposite direction, right? Right here, you get the opposite. You get the crossover. You get another crossover right here, right? And every single time that we get these crossovers, you notice how price goes in the opposite direction, right? So if I were to go ahead and take EuroCAD in this specific instance, what I would want to see happen is I would want to see price first. I'd want to see price form below my blue line just to play it safe, because chances are it could form below my green line. It looks how it fakes you out, right? At least if you're to get a crossover, like let's say right here, and it does fake you out, you have a trailing stop loss, you still have 53 pips. So it's not like you're going to get faked out as easily, you know, in comparison to, let's say, here where it forms under your green and you get about like maybe 30 something pips, you know, 40 pips. Sometimes like here, for example, this was a little fake out in a sense, or a little pullback, but I rather not deal with that. So I usually want to see price form under my blue line, my longer term MA, right? And then from there, I can get a clear indication that price is probably going to come and go in an opposite direction. Now, why did price not reverse when it formed under my blue line? Well, let's look at that. Support and resistance, guys. Did it ever form and below my level of support? Nope. Another thing that I would have done if we were at this point here is I would have honestly, like I said, placing buy stops and sell stops seems annoying sometimes, but that's how you save yourself a lot of struggles, I would say. You would have just looked at this and said, hey, there's a level of support here, here. You would probably, if you're me, you would probably would have waited. And I probably would have tested, ran it. I would have wanted to see it come over here, right? To one of these support or resistance support and support, right? So I would have wanted to see it test these zones, right? So another thing that I would do with this pair, looks like it's just been going up, so I'm just gonna kind of leave it. But if I were to jump in on this right now, let's say price were to go ahead and reverse right now for some reason, I'd honestly just wait until it breaks this level of support. The minute that it breaks it, yeah, I'm not catching. Oh my gosh, I'm missing out on 104 pips. What am I gonna do with my life? Fuck. But hey, if it does break past this zone, I could just ride this to the next level of support with just all your 100 pips, you know? So it's not that big a deal. I rather play it safe. I don't want to go ahead and risk as much as I should in a sense. I don't want to deal with any of this noise that is happening or any of this, you know? And then again, if you guys are going to go ahead and try to predict that this is going to go in the opposite type of direction, this is going on an uptrend, right? So what do we know about a trend reversal, right? If we want to see a trend reverse, we got to look at market patterns, right? Double top, head and shoulders, even a shift in momentum, which usually that's why market patterns form, right? So what I would want to look at for me to consider this even worthy of me going ahead and trading against the trend is a market pattern. Do I see a double top? No. Let's see on the 1 hour, is there any sort of market pattern? Don't know what that is. Nope. 30-minute. I don't know what that market pattern is. Never heard of that. Nope, can't be that. Nope, there's no market pattern. So there's no indication to me that this is even going to go in the opposite direction anytime, like right now at least, right? So I'm just going to kind of leave it be. And the minute I see a market pattern, great, I know what to do. But until then, I'm chilling. I'm not going to do anything. And if it does decide to reverse, right, then okay, that's fine. I'll place my stop here if I didn't catch a market pattern, if I didn't see anything, right? And I'm still catching my pips. There's no big deal. But yeah. Did that answer your question about how to use a fib on a sell? Chris? We're good? We're good? We're Gucci? Okay, sweet. Sweet, sweet. All right, the other day when I was telling you guys about GBPCHF, right? So I called this yesterday actually, and what I was looking at was this here. I saw this shoot down, and I was actually down here. And first and foremost, I saw what Dakota has actually been teaching me a lot on, which are teacups, right? So at this low, I noticed that price came and formed a level of support, right? And after that, I see this little doji form and then a green candlestick to confirm it, right? So for me, I was just like, okay, well, I don't really need much more of a reason to go ahead and confirm this. To what Dakota educated me on, price doesn't always have to come and fill in a gap, but I know that it usually comes pretty close to test it. And on top of that, guys, this has been going down for way, way, way too long, right? So it has to go up, right? um, um, so I just jumped in at this lowest point right here, and I just held it to that level of resistance. And I banked on a good 76 pips, right? And we haven't even drank yet. I finished some of my wine, not all of it. But yeah, see, GBPCHF formed a little teacup. One thing that I learned about teacups too is that on the 4 hour, once it comes and tests the zone, it would place a sell limit, which I'm currently in, and you hold this for, if it's on the 4 hour, I believe it's 50 pips. So currently in profit 23, right? 50 pips will probably be right about right there, right? Which is level of resistance right here. So teacups, guys, if you don't know them, I would learn them. Go onto IML TV, watch, oh my gosh, what's his name? Dakota, what's that guy's name that does the teacups?
Lisado Talvarez.
Oh yeah, Lisalda, yeah.
I'll type it out.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's gonna take me some time to learn that. But yeah, I would definitely learn how to use teacups. They're really useful actually, and they're not that hard. But yeah, I think Dakota put it in the chat. He has a couple recordings. Lisaldo Tavares, yeah. Go on, watch his previous recordings. I believe it's the August 20th one or like the 19th, one of those two. That has how to trade teacups, and he teaches it. So I just watched it. It wasn't that long, and then hey, I know how to trade a teacup, and it worked. I made a profit off of it, right? So it seems to me that I know how to use them now. But yeah, GBP seemed pretty good to me. I'm not gonna like tell you guys there's so many good setups right now because I'm not like I haven't really been looking at the charts like for a little bit. AD cat, shoulder, head, shoulder. I think I did call this out on Saturday. I told you guys that I was thinking that it was, yeah, I actually did. Oh my gosh, I did. I was saying that I want to see it form up here, form a shoulder, and then go up. What a surprise. I didn't even see this, right? So if I were to take this, reverse it, and shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, right? What I would do, it kind of already gave you the little retest right here. But what I would want to see it do is give me another little retest right here, right? And I'd want to see it come and test one of these next couple zones. Uno, dos, y tres, right? Look, price above the green line, which is above the blue MA, going up, right? I want to see AUD CAD come up. Well, I want to see it first come and test this little zone. I want to see it give it my retest, right? And potentially come all the way up here, right? If you run a fib and if you want to see this go on a downtrend, it very well might not even come and test the zone. It might come and test this 50 to 618 zone, right? If this is going to go on a downtrend, right? So it might even come and test this zone right here, right? But hey, we're just going to have to, we don't predict, we react to it, right? So I know that if price comes and tests this zone, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on and place my low buy, and I'm going to hold it up to this zone here, right? If it doesn't, another entry that I could even look at would be previous market structure, maybe about right there. Right, look at how all of this is resistance. All of this, price was resisted all around here. So if I see a candle closure above these zones, I know what I'm gonna do, right? And we're looking at 28, 74, or even 123 pips, right? So these are just different things that I look at, guys, when I'm trading at least. And yeah. Do you guys have any questions at all? That's kind of all I really wanted to. Oh, Dakota posted a link. Let me save this and copy this too. I'm gonna post it in the chat right now. Yo, Dakota, I finally figured out how to get Telegram on my computer. Let's see. I know I never knew how to use that. Okay. So yeah, do you guys have any questions for me at all? That's pretty much all I got for tonight. I just kind of wanted to clarify. Is there something that you guys wanted me to cover at all? Anything at all? Anything that may not be making sense, or all good? You guys Gucci? Did this kind of help at all? When will you have another Zoom? Just let me know. I mean, lately I'm gonna be I'm gonna be busy during the day now, so usually I'll be free more in the evening. Just let me know. Just message me whenever you want to have another Zoom. We'll go. Let me know what topic though, because people want to jump on a Zoom, but then don't tell me what to go over. Like I don't know what to go over. And patterns work on all time frames. Yes, but they work better It's not that they work better. Yeah, they work better. They work better on larger time frames, right? So if you see a double top on the minute chart, you got to remember you're calculating that distance from your neckline to that resistance. So that could be like what, 5 pips. So that's really not well worth your time, I would say. Usually for me, if I look at market patterns, I like to look at it on the weekly, daily, 4 hour, or even sometimes the 1 hour. But yeah, they work on every time frame. I think Dakota has room for more for correlation of pairs. I would highly recommend jumping on that, guys. I know most of this stuff already, but it's always nice to watch it over and over again. Trust me, Arnie, I used to do that all the time. Yeah, honestly, I've learned a lot, like, especially because, like even Magnus or Dakota, they could even vouch. I honestly, a lot of times during when we Zoom and we're just like hanging out and stuff, Lucas, you can vouch for it too because you've been on Zoom with us. I don't really go over charts. I don't really talk about too much. I'm usually just jumping in on trades on my own. That's one thing that I was personally taught. I don't know about you guys, but I was told by the people that taught me, at least, there's some people that I consider like trading mentors that I remember for some time, like I just didn't really do well when I would trade with other people for some reason. It doesn't matter if you're an IML educator or who the hell you were. I just usually didn't do well when I traded with other people. So one thing that I've learned is kind of just to take my own bias and trade on my own, which is what I kind of do. But one thing that like Lucas and Dakota and Magnus can vouch for is that usually when I'm on Zooms, I'm really quiet, but I'm really observant, right? So when I see everybody charting up and looking at things differently, it's not that I really don't know what I'm looking at. I'm just watching on what they're doing. And trust me, it's like a videotape in my head and it's like a never ending like tape. And I just remember it and it works for me. So usually like Arnie, if you see me charting over and over and over again, you're gonna remember this. And when you're charting up, you're gonna be like, oh shit, I remember something about how Jesse was doing on that one Zoom, and it'll work. So yeah, it definitely helps you out by just watching me do this over and over again. Would it be good if you're scalping market patterns? Yeah, I used to do that a lot. Honestly, when I used to scalp, especially when I was new, I didn't know a lot when I was new, right? I wasn't really taught. I didn't have the privilege to work with Dakota personally when I was new, or with a lot of you guys. I kind of had to like learn on my own. If you guys remember me in the beginning, right? And one thing that I traded predominantly when I was new is market patterns. That's pretty much all I ever traded, especially when I would scalp. That's pretty much all I would do. See a double top, sell, double bottom, buy, right head and shoulders, sell, inverted head and shoulders, buy. Kind of already knew what to do. Wedges were some of my favorite patterns. That's all I pretty much traded. Wedges, triangles, Elliott waves. I used to be really heavy with Elliott's. Yeah. Can you post Dakota's Zoom link in the Telegram? I don't know what it will be, but I will. I guarantee you, will probably post it soon. When do you usually bag some pips, take partial profit, or let it ride bigger gain? Are you good at that? I guess it depends on the trade in particular. So me, how I trade, guys, is I personally twin trade. All right. So if you guys aren't an IML, I don't know what to tell you, but there's a video on there that goes over twin trading. So essentially, what you're doing is you take two of the same trade, just like let's say you were to trade for some reason like a standard lot, right? At 1.00, $10 a pip. What a twin trade would do is you would break it down into two different trades, do $5 a pip and $5 a pip. You would let one ride to take profit one, and you would let the other one ride a little bit longer where you're trying to shoot for, right? So for me, what I do is I twin trade. I always usually have one trade catch 25 pips, and I'll have the other trade that I'm looking at try to ride a little bit longer to where I'm thinking it'll hit, right? And I just trail it with a stop loss and profit, right? So if I'm trying to shoot for 100 pips or 200 or 300, I'll just move my stop loss and profit as I go, right? I'll have one trade cash me out at 25 pips just in case, and I'll have the other one move in profit, right? That's how I usually trade, right? Because I rather bag in something than nothing, right? And even then, I'll always have my stop loss at break even. Would you guys rather lose nothing, right? Would you guys rather gain 30 cents or lose $30, right? So usually what I do is I always move my stop loss in prof or at break even, just in case, right? Price reversals on me for some reason, then hey, at least I'm not losing anything. Do you ever scalp London? I used to. I used to do that every night. Actually, Dakota, do you remember when we used to do that, bro? When we used to scalp London every night, bro. You want to do London tonight?
Every night for like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Absolutely.
We used to do it all the time. One thing that I would say with London, Yeah, dude, we used to go ham in that, Dakota. We used to make money off of that. But one thing that I used to do to give you a little bit of a tip is usually you'll get some sort of pair with the European currencies. That's when they're usually the most, like, I guess that's when they fluctuate the most, right? So what I do is I try to figure out where the European currencies are going to go. Let's say the euro, right? Euro looks bearish to me. So I wouldn't really want to counter trend. So I'd want to look for London session. Usually you'll get anywhere from 25 to 50 pips of a shoot in one direction, right? I usually will follow the trend. So what I usually did was I would try to figure out and I would wait until the market started moving come midnight or whatever time, and I would catch anywhere from 10 to 30 pips off of those pairs, right? So that's why you want to jump on Dakota's Zoom tomorrow to learn about correlating pairs. Because I knew that if the euro was shooting down and your GBP was going to shoot down, which means that USD CHF was going to go up, right? But because USD was gaining strength, I also knew that USD JPY was going to gain strength too because USD is gaining strength. Which I knew that if the dollar is gaining strength throughout that time, I knew that AUD was going to go down because the dollar is gaining strength, right? So I would kind of just try to figure out where one pair is going and then try to play it, by ear, try to see where all the markets are moving. If you're gonna scalp London, I would try to learn from Dr. K. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna tell you to take her trades, okay? But what I'm telling you is learn how she does it. That's how I started scalping London. I'll post the video on the chat for how to use Ichimoku Cloud. That's literally like when I learned the Ichimoku Cloud, that's what I used to do to scalp. Not gonna lie. I don't know if Magnus is on here, but Magnus taught me it once, and then I watched the video from Dr. K, and I was calling out like 10 trades usually a night. Profit, 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 right? 10 pips and dip. And it's a pretty good strategy, I'm not gonna lie. You might get some risk involved, but it worked for me. Just I don't feel like staying up every single night anymore, 5 days a week. But if you can probably do it like once or twice with you a week if you want to. Just depends. But yeah, hope that helped. But yeah, I used to scalp London a lot. Except trading during the summer, guys, is not fun. Do you guys ever think you guys are like really, really good traders? Trade during the summer and let me know how that worked because that really like killed my confidence. But yeah, don't trade during the summer. And if you do, be careful. And then don't trade during holidays. What's the biggest amount of pip trade you caught? LOL, random question. I actually caught, this was honestly one of my best trading days. It's off of Ripple. I caught in like a day, like over 400 pips on the shoot up and then 300 pips on the shoot down, right? Trade stacked. Same LOL, summer's whack because everyone's traveling. Yeah, so the reason why summer isn't really a good time to trade is because the economy overall in the whole world is a whole mess, right? So you have people in the US that are traveling to Europe, that are traveling to Australia, traveling to, I don't know, Japan, China, wherever you're going, right? And what are people doing? They're spending all of their money, right? Exactly, tourism. People are spending all their money in different countries, which is raising the overall health in different economies, right? Which is why you get the summertime madness, which is awful, okay? The 10 pips and dip did not freaking work for me during the summer. I would try to call them out. The first 2 weeks of June, flawless. Second week of June until like maybe like the beginning of August, my God, it was miserable. Like I was like, why am I losing every damn trade? Yeah, no. Trading during the summer is not really fun. I heard trading during the fall is really good off of what one of my trading mentors told me. But yeah, no, Lucas, yeah, don't do it. Next summer, I know I'm not going to be trading as much. I'm just going to swing it, and you'll save a life, right? You'll save your life and your freaking trading account. But I'm not going to even intraday or scalp or none of that during the summer next year. Nope, not doing it. But yeah, so kind of went off topic, but yeah, that's about all I got, guys. You want me to go over anything else? We're good. Dakota, you have anything you want to add? Tequila. You never told us. What did I never told you? I never.
Biggest amount of pips you bagged. I kind of distracted you with the traveling.
I did with Ripple. I said I caught 400 pips on the shoot up and then 300 on the shoot down.
Okay, my dog. 700 in the day.
In a day. And I trade stacked it too. I did 3 trade stacks.
I believe you do like 2, 3, 4. Anytime I see him take a trade, it's always 2 or 3, 4 on the same entry. So like, you know what I'm saying? You can do what you do.
I didn't know it was in a shoot up like 400 pips guys. I literally just put it in. And this is when I was new, right? So I put it in and I was like, I think it's gonna go up. And it made a shift in momentum, shot up. And then I was like, oh my gosh, guys, it's been going up for way too long, right? So it has to go down. So I placed my sell straight stack and then I made my profit, right? So I banked a lot more than 700 pips. 700 times 3, about like 2,100 pips in a day. More than that. Beginner's luck, definitely. Because I think me now, I wouldn't be able to do that. I would not be able to predict that. I'm good, but I'm not that good to do that in one day. Yikes. That was a lot of, beginner's luck for sure. Especially because I was new to trading Ripple at the time. But I started trading the Ichimoku Cloud on crypto too at first. Really helped. That's how I caught that move. I did it on Bitcoin and I did it on Ripple. It worked a lot. I'm telling you, learn how to use the Ichimoku Cloud. I'll post a video on the chat. Gotta go later, bro. For sure, Arnie. I'll talk to you later. Alrighty. Well, if y'all don't got nothing, I don't really have nothing else. How many you say, bro? One a day, over 2,000 pips. Off of one trade, like the most I caught in one trade is like 400 pips in a day. Hichimoku. But yeah, that was beginner's luck though, like Lucas said. I was new at the time. Kind of think my trading account would benefit from that. Yeah, it was nice. I'll never forget that day. I was pretty happy. So was my bank account. It was nice. But yeah, oh fuck. That's about all I got. The call was recorded, so we'll have Dakota go ahead and post it. If you can, bro. It'd be